All right, hello, welcome. It's Angie and Natalie. We're here for Conscious Conversations in Parenting,
Hello.
episode 10. And episode 10 is called Don't Speak. And what we are going to be covering in this conversation is how constant chatter gives our power away. And I don't know about you, but I can definitely relate to this with myself of wanting to say more than is needed. And I really, as I awaken and as I become more aware, I realize how much that extra chatter creates more drama in the household, especially with my children. Um, but yeah, so welcome. Thank you for joining us in this conversation. My name is Angie. I'm the creator of Journey to Soul in this YouTube channel. And my friend Natalie and I have always had conscious conversations. We've had many deep dives on things. And one day it was just kind of like, we need to start having these, like, let's start sharing it. And that's how this became. Right. And I just love doing it because it activates us. You said this in the last episode, Natalie, like it activates remembrances within us too. Because the truth is, we have all this wisdom within us. We've forgotten. And so when we have these conscious conversations about these tough things that we go through as humans, it awakens a knowing in us. And I think that's so important, especially at this time in the world, right? So that's why I love being here and doing this. I'll let you introduce yourself,
Absolutely.
Natalie.
Yeah, I'm Natalie, obviously. um, and I just love these conversations with Angie. I mean, we've been having them for years, and again, we just decided to widen the audience, right? Bring the conversation to you guys. And we love that you're here with us, sharing these conversations with us. And again, like I'm all about conscious awareness, about mindfulness, and I love having conversations about it, on this YouTube channel and through my writings as well. So I'm an intuitive writer. I'm working on a book called 21 Days to the New Earth, which has again 21 simple steps to awaken the new earth within you, because that's really where it comes. It's not, it's not like the backdrop is suddenly going to fall and welcome to the new earth. It all comes from you. It all comes within our heart, right? So it's a really simple book, that teaches you, that shows you how to bring that in within yourself. And I'm super excited about today's topic because this was a huge lesson for me in this past year, Angie, of just that constant chatter, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it all the time. And I see it. I see like when there, I'm sure you've experienced this, Natalie. Like it's like you're lecturing or whatever, you're saying something to your child, right? And then it's like, it's almost like I feel like I get this sense of like they don't seem to understand how mad I am about something or how important this is. And so I keep going and explaining it in different ways. And at that point, I notice I'm just shaming them. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I notice
Uh,
sometimes, like now, because she actually, why I notice that? It's not something I notice because she tells me. She literally says, "Now you're making me feel bad." That's what she says to me.
wow.
And I stop. And I stop. And because I'm committed to consciousness and conscious awareness, I stop and I think, I could have said, I could have just walked away
Yeah.
and she wouldn't have felt shame. Do you know what I mean? It's like I didn't want to
Mm,
bring it to shame. Like, but
yeah.
we put ourselves
It
in the
wasn't
hole.
intentional.
No,
It was
no.
unconscious, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
And it could have been stopped by me not speaking.
yeah.
But
Mm.
that's hard.
It is. And I mean, it seems like sometimes there's like a perpetual belief out there of, like the chatty Cathys, the women that are always like, beacon off to their husbands or whatever, like the mom that's always nagging. So there it is kind of like there is like this systematic belief within us. And also it's a habit, right?
Mhm.
Um, it's a habit, and it's also a reflection of what's going on inside of us. Because the more and more conscious I become, the more I cut back on my thoughts,
Quieter you
the
get.
more I realize that it's an external reflection of what's going on inside. If your head is full of chatter, guys, for sure
That's
you're
what
going to be,
spills.
again, going off on rants, that constant chatter, that over explanation. It's going on inside of here, right? So you got to notice that, because the more and more I have cut back, I mean, in the last 2 or 3 years, I've probably cut back my stream of thought like 50%. And I can absolutely see that reflected in my external reaction or my external interactions,
Mhm.
because you just come into a realization that, first of all, words are very powerful. I'm a great manifester, so I'm very careful about what I say. So that has an impact too. But also, I don't feel this need to explain myself to others, because my power doesn't lie in them,
Yeah.
it lies in me.
And if we don't know that,
Yeah.
if we don't know that, then we 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 word vomit, we chatter, out into the world, trying to pull energy from outside of us.
Yeah. Because we're trying to pull energy, we're trying to control with our words,
Yes. Yeah.
and you don't that's not the way to do it, right? It actually like takes your power away, which is what we're discussing.
That analogy comes up for me as you were talking about that, is what's in your cup. Like, what's in your cup is what's going to spill out in those tough moments. And
Yeah.
so, if, like, I love how you said that, the if you've got a lot of streams of thought going on in here, if there's a lot of mental chatter, then that's how you're going to interact out there with the world when things get tough. And so, if you
Yeah.
don't know you have a lot of chatter, you can observe your behavior and see if that's how you're communicating to your children. And I am that person, right? I'm constantly talking or ranting. I love that you said that too, ranting, like, oh, mom's on a rant now. And how many people can relate to that, or being told that, or told that, given that feedback, right? You're on a
Yeah.
rant. And it's not, we can choose to take it personally and get upset about it, or we can choose to see, oh, because that's what's going on within me.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
what's in
And
your cup.
certain situ hmm I love that. What's in your cup will spill out. And certain situations may give you the tendency to talk more, right?
Yes.
Maybe, maybe, and it's also a comfort level, right? Oh, this is good. That was coming in. The more you chatter, the more you talk, the more you try to over explain yourself. Is that a reflection of how uncomfortable the situation is making you, or how uncomfortable you are with that person, right?
Yeah,
If we're super
presenters.
uncomfortable, and if we're in a very, very uncomfortable situation, or we're uncomfortable around a certain person, we either like freeze up, right? Or again, that over explaining, right? Oh, I did this because of that, or we need to do this because of this, and then we need to do this and this and this, and it's like constant run-on sentence monologue.
And people shut down after a little while.
Yeah.
Right? People will
So that's
shut
where
down.
that like it takes your power away. Because here you are, like everything is energy, right? So you're outputting all this
Giving it
energy
all
into
up.
verbal communication. Where's it going? It's not going anywhere. It's not doing anything productive. It's not helping you, it's not helping you. It's not serving you. It's not serving others,
They're not absorbing
you
it.
know? Yeah. Mm.
Or maybe they might not be absorbing what your words are saying, but they're absorbing instead the heavy emotion, possibly. I have a daughter who's highly
Yeah, the
sensitive.
bad vibe.
Yeah. And it's just
Mm.
bad vibes.
Yeah.
And it
And like
takes
that's
a lot
how,
of mastery to not speak.
yeah.
So don't beat yourself up if you can't do it. I still have a hard time doing it. I'm better at it.
Mm. Yeah.
And what happens is when you get better at it, you start to experience the result of that. And the result of that is much
Yeah.
nicer than the other result.
Yeah. That's what this is all about. And that's why what my intention is with all these conversations is to get people to
Experiment.
experience it, right? To take the steps to actually experience it. Because when it's to experience it, you're on the other side of that situation, and then you understand, you feel what we're talking about here, right, Angie?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't have to over explain myself. I don't have to jump into an argument. Even if someone starts arguing with you, guess what? You do not have to answer.
And you don't have to be
You
right.
do not have to answer. Just go more and more into your presence, right?
Yeah.
I'm big on grounding. It doesn't matter where I am, I'll ground, through my feet into the earth. But you can have other exercises. I mean, something as simple as breathing. I know you love breathing exercises. This could be a great tool to teach yourself to cut back on that chatter, right?
Yeah.
In those situations where you feel you need to like lash out, you need to fight back, you need to explain yourself. You don't need to explain yourself, man. You don't need to explain yourself.
That's right. You don't actually. And you'll realize it when you don't explain yourself and you realize everything just somehow magically dissolves, and you know what I mean? And and everybody moves on.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to realize like how powerful that is.
Yeah.
It sounds like something came in there.
Yes, I had to write it down.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, go.
So this is bringing in the word resistance to me when we're trying to over explain something, or when we're arguing with someone, whenever we're, again, like that, like verbal vomit, which is a great term. I think we should like license that. It's resistance to the situation.
Yes.
And what you are resisting persists. My mentor Larkin says this all the time. What you resist persists. So if you are resisting, I don't know, like if your kid doesn't, put away the dishes or whatever in the dishwasher, and you're constantly like harping on them because of that, you are resisting the fact that they're not putting the dishes in the dishwasher. Whether or not they should or not, that's not the point. The point is you are resisting that situation.
That scenario. Yeah.
So the more you're like blah, 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 it's resisting. You're resisting it. And if you keep resisting it, it persists. So when you, in that same situation, you see, they left the dishes on the counter, and you're thinking to yourself, WTH, the dishwasher is literally like right underneath the counter. But instead of going into that verbal vomit dialogue, don't talk, like just be silent about it, right? Go into your presence, go into your inner heart. And because that's how you dissolve that resistance, right?
And
that's
acknowledge that you have that resistance. Acknowledge.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like,
oh,
I don't like this situation.
Gross.
I don't like it.
No, I don't like it. I feel this habit, this urge to like, go after the person who didn't load the dishwasher, right? But it's like,
because I don't like this.
Yeah, I don't. It's totally fine to say that to yourself, or even say it out loud.
And it doesn't
right?
matter it doesn't matter why you don't like it. That doesn't matter.
No.
That doesn't matter. You just don't like
because
it.
It's not. Yeah, because it's not the fact that the dishes are sitting on the counter that you don't like. It's just like it's a reaction. It's your response to it.
And it has nothing to do with them.
Yeah, that's what's bringing in like the low vibes, like the crunchiness around like, your shoulders, maybe you tighten up. That's what it is. It's your response to the situation. It's not actually the situation itself. Because what's the situation? It's a plate sitting on a counter. It's an object sitting on an object,
Yes.
right? Like,
Right. That's all it is.
yeah,
That's all it is.
yeah, yeah. So when we break it down, like we got to bring humor and curiosity into this, guys, because when we break it down to that basic level of it's an object on top of an object, then you can dissolve that, right?
Yeah.
And then you bring in your silence, and then you're not verbal vomiting about people not cleaning up after themselves, because you just see it's literally like vibrations sitting on something that vibrates differently.
Yeah. And if you see that, if you're able to see that in that moment, I think about like how far I've come with this myself, right? And I was that nagging mom, and I still find myself doing it, but I've been really shifting a lot lately, like quantum shifting. And so now it's like I ask them to put something away and I don't make meaning out of it. So there's no charge behind it. And I'm thinking about how I got there. And how I got there was having these moments of okay, I don't like this. I don't like that those dishes are there. And so one of the first things I do is I just breathe. I breathe into my heart before and I notice I don't like this. I don't like it. And I breathe into my heart and I actually check in with myself. This is how I started getting to where I am now. I check in with myself of, am I willing to put it away for them? Like, can I do that in love right now? And if I don't think I can, what I started to do was like, okay, so that I would breathe in love for myself. And then I would just, because I paused and I took this moment, you know what I mean, to check in, then I would say, I would call to, let's say I called Alice and she's upstairs. I just call to her. And this is where I started to notice a big shift, because I would call to her and I'd be like, hey, Alice, I'm like, you forgot to put your dinner plate away. Can you come down and put the plate away? I wouldn't even say you forgot, actually. I would just say, can you come down and put your dinner plate away? And what I started to notice was she would just come down and put it away. And it's because it came from a different energy than me reacting, than me looking at it and making all the meaning. And then you didn't put your dinner plate away again, like come down.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a much different response when I come at her like that.
Yes. Because it's all about vibration and frequency, guys.
Yes, because it's what's
How are
going
you
on.
responding? If you respond from a place of presence, and like Angie's example of, she got present, she followed her breath, she asked herself, like, what can I do right now? Can I put
And
this plate
sometimes I
away?
can put it away for them. And then I'm doing it
Yeah,
with love. I'm not doing it with resentment because I checked in.
yeah, because you don't want resentment all
Nope.
over your dishwasher. You
Nope.
can't want it. That's tough to wash out, right? You want that love.
Yeah.
Right?
The resentment's
Yeah, or
going to
even
spill out
calling out.
later.
Yeah, yeah, or calling out to her, hey, could you put your plate away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's
And
easy.
if you can't do, and like even like a neutral tone, right? It doesn't have to be like lovey gushy. Just be like, hey man, can you put your plate away? Thanks.
And
Yeah.
it's
And
coming
don't
from
put
a
like a
different
timer on
vibration.
it, right? Like just let them, because if you're present
Yes.
and you're asking them out of presence, then it will kind of like spark up a little presence in them.
Mhm.
And then, who knows, maybe they're in the bathroom, right? Maybe they're just, I don't know, whatever they're doing, like writing something. Just let them come down on their own terms, right? And I had a really interesting experience about this. And it is into this theme of like this chatty Cathy, like verbal vomit, like cut down on the chatter. There was I think it was like a couple nights ago. I think there was me and my husband in our bedroom, and I think our son was there. And they were just, they just started having an argument, like just a verbal interaction that was not part of my frequency. And I just got present, because that's a trigger, that's a cue for me now of, okay, let's get present. Let's like get like really deeply present, right? And it was really interesting, the outcome, because then they're like pain bodies. They were like lashing out at each other, and I was just very present. Whereas before, out of
Jump in.
try to jump in, right? Like, oh, I
Mhm.
feel I need to agree with my husband, or I need to protect my son of, in this like a verbal argument. No, I just became very present, and it was super interesting. My my husband just walked out of the room, right? And then my son was still in the room, and then I could see him trying to lash out to me, right?
Mhm.
And I recognized that it's not him. It's
Yeah.
not my son. It's not this beautiful human being. It's the anger trying to, again, like Eckhart Tolle calls it pain body, right?
Trying
It's
to
his
hook you.
anger trying to stir my anger up, right? His
Yeah.
ego is trying to get my ego to do like this like ego tango of
Yeah.
arguing. And I recognized it right away. And I'm like, his pain body doesn't have my husband's pain body to fight with anymore. He's trying to get mine. I am so present. I am so, because when you're present, when you're aware, when you're aware of what's going on,
Then you can
guys,
make a choice.
your ego can't get it won't get triggered because it's not even there anymore. It can't Your ego can't survive in presence.
It's just dissolved. Yeah. It
It
isn't
just
there.
dissolved. And then it
Yeah.
was really interesting. So he was even like, my son was even trying to like physically get me to be pissed off, right? So I just moved out of the way, but I still stayed in the room and was present because I knew at a deeper level he really actually needs that connection of love. He doesn't need that connection of ego. He needs
Mhm.
love. And then I just sat down on the bed, and then he was still trying to like kind of headbutt me and stuff, but like I could tell it was going
It was starting to
softer and
fizzle.
softer and softer. And then eventually he was just cuddling with me,
Yeah.
and we were just sitting there, and I'm like, how freaking powerful am I, right? I just completely dissolved something, but I didn't talk, I
You
think,
didn't
at
even say
all during the
anything.
whole. I think I started saying just like, when it was just my son, like, um, like we don't have to hurt people. Like, please don't touch me. If
Right.
you're gonna touch to hurt, don't touch me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it was
Setting
just a
about
few
just
words.
setting a boundary.
Instead of jumping to his defense when him and my husband were going at it, or like it feeling I needed to side with
Yeah.
my husband, and I feel that this like constant chatter that we just need to like shut up about is because we have this belief, this assumption that, oh, we're married to this person, we
Mm.
have to side with them every time. So then we have to like
Get
go into
involved.
like this blah 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 conversation, like the parents versus the kids or whatever, like this like
Like
them versus
feel
us mentality.
feel
And
that.
I'm
It
just
doesn't even
like,
feel good. It feels awful.
it does not, yeah, right?
Like you're
I know, I
talking
felt it.
about it and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But then you switch that, and this has taken me some time, and that's okay. I mean, what took me 2 years may take someone 20 years, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you're just aware of it, right? So,
Yeah.
but when you can bring that amount of awareness into it, and that's actually what we want, like, you know, don't speak, right? That's what it is. Don't speak, be
Just don't
present,
speak.
right?
And when you don't speak, you're allowed to get present. You allow yourself to get present. You
Yeah.
allow yourself to fall into the observer. And it's fascinating to try it. Like, give it a try, guys. Give it a try.
Yeah.
Just try. And it's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna feel uncomfortable because it's not what you normally do. It's gonna feel uncomfortable for them too, because they're expecting a response from you or a reaction.
Yeah.
If that's
Yeah.
what you've always given them, right? Natalie talks about the pain body. Their pain body is like, what the hell's going on? Why aren't you like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
jumping in, right? And it's uncomfortable, but can you just be present with that discomfort and notice enough to notice a change, enough to
Yeah.
experience a shift?
Yeah. And then
Because
you will
once you
feel,
experience it,
yeah.
you can't go back.
Oh, yeah. You can't go back. Yeah. And that's what's so amazing. And you don't want to go back
You don't want
either.
to.
No. To
Yeah.
have even if that means, like 50% of your conversations cut out, because you decided not to speak, you decided to cut down on the chatter. Well, then that's 50% more space, and then the other 50% of the conversations and the interactions you're having with are probably a lot better for you and a lot
Yes.
better for everyone else's well-being.
Yes. And you'll get a chance to like children, man, like there's something I observe so much as a parent is how quick they get over it. How quick
Yes.
my daughter is fine. And it's like, and I think I've used this example in a conversation before. Like my daughter loves to storm off because she needs to be alone. But she'll
Yeah.
storm off and it'll be done. I used to get mad at that, like really mad at that, because it's disrespectful, it's whatever, right? And the truth of the matter is I can't get into it with you when you run off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I get into
yeah.
a deeper truth of it, my ego wants to get into it with you. And
Yeah.
you storm off and I can't. And I call it disrespectful to like that's what I tell you it is, right? But here's the truth of the matter. Here's what I observe. She leaves and then she comes down and she loves me again and she's better. And if we need to
Yeah.
talk about it, I can talk about it then, but I'm still mad. And this is where chatter will sometimes come out because you're
Yeah.
okay now? What is wrong with you? You shouldn't be okay. I'm still mad.
Yeah, because your pain body, your
No, I'm trying
madness,
to
your
hook her. My
anger
anger is trying to hook.
is looking for food, and the food is someone else being pissed off at you.
Yes.
This is
And so
arguing,
I'll do
guys.
something to piss her off.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
it. Oh, I've seen it so
Yeah.
clearly. But here's what happens now. Now she goes off, and I take that as a cue for me to center. She
Yeah.
storms off, and like I'm almost grateful that she storms off because she storms off. I can stop it fast, and I can
Yeah.
now get inside
Yeah.
and don't speak.
Yeah. Her
How many of
storming off
you?
is giving you space. She's
Yes.
offering you
Like,
space.
thank you. Like, thank you for storming
Yeah.
off. Like, I've
Yeah.
reframed it, like, to thank you for storming off. But how many of you watching this do you go follow your child or follow your partner and keep talking at them?
Yeah. Yeah. Even the term storming off, right? Because I'll describe
Yeah,
that's a
that's a good,
descriptive term I
yeah.
use for my husband, right? You use it for your daughter, but it's like maybe they're giving themselves space.
Maybe
Why don't
they're
we
just
change? We should.
honoring
That's the homework for
themselves.
you and me this
Oh,
week.
yes.
They're like,
Love it.
look at them. They're creating
Love it.
space for themselves.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's the kind of aha I was telling you that Julie and I had today on one of those other topics. Okay, so creating space. Yes, for themselves. Oh, and like, can we be proud of them for that?
Yeah. You're like, look at them waking up on their
Versus
own terms and
storming
on their
off.
own timelines, right?
I wonder if I can do that. Like, get curious.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Yeah.
I can, because they're mirroring it for
Oh.
us. They're mirroring it for us. But we call it storming off. This goes back to episode 9. We're talking about breaking karmic loops.
Yeah.
We're a belief, like if we have this belief that they're storming off.
Whoa, I just realized something. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
And this
Yeah,
is
and
why,
it could
guys,
even
you are getting real time. This is why we do conscious conversations. What you just
yeah.
witnessed here.
Yeah.
I love it. Creating space for themselves. Oh my
Yeah.
God, she's creating space for herself.
Yeah.
And that's giving me space. Thank you.
And that's giving the opportunity for you to create even more space for yourself, to go even deeper, right? Because I know you, Angie, you're very in the present moment. So
Mhm.
when these things come up that you kind of get pulled out of it, then she's creating space for yourself, then you can go even deeper.
And now I can go. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, beautiful. I think that's a beautiful way to end. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
invite you guys to do the same. We will do this, but I invite you to do the same. If you have a child or somebody in your household that storms off and it pisses you off, can you reframe it?
Yeah.
That they're creating space for themselves. Wow, look at them. Look at them creating space for themselves.
Yeah,
And in turn, it's giving me space.
totally.
Mm,
Yeah. So, guys, and this title for the episode, "Don't Speak." I'm just like,
I
I
love
loved No Doubt when I was a kid. When I was a teenager,
it.
I absolutely loved them. And yeah, like, don't speak. Notice yourself with the chatter,
Yes.
because the more we speak, the more we take it takes our power away.
Yeah.
And it's a reflection of what's going on in here.
Yeah.
If you feel that you just can't shut up, well, it's time to go
Address
deeper,
that inside.
look
Yeah.
at what are the thoughts that you're believing. Is there always a narrative in your head? Is there always like a narrator? Are you always like describing things to yourself? Like, oh, I got to go into the kitchen now and I got to make this and I got to make that and I got to clean up this. That's chatter, man. That's the hot. Cut that back and
It's not
notice the
serving you.
difference.
It's not
Yeah,
serving
and
you.
then you notice the difference, because it's also it's about awareness, right? Cutting back the chatter, but it's also like an automatic outcome of cutting back on your thoughts.
Yeah. So powerful. So don't speak. Try it. Try it. Try it. Just don't speak and give yourself, you know what? Gift yourself the experience of it.
Yes.
Mm. So good. So good. Guys,
Yeah.
if you like this, if you're, if this is resonating for you, like, subscribe to the channel, follow us. We premiere our videos every Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And even if you can't join us live, we'll be there to live chat, at least one of us. Julie is one of our partners as well. And but we'll be there to live chat with you. And yeah, if you can join us live, great. If not, like the video, share it. Gosh, share it. If there's somebody that you think this would resonate with, please do. We're trying to reach people. We're trying to reach more people, grow the channel. Like,
Yeah, have more, bring this conscious conversation to more people, right? So absolutely subscribe, reminder, and drop your comments, right? Like,
yes.
are you a chatty Cathy, right? Do you kind of find yourself stuck in like those verbal vomit moments? Let us know, okay? There's no judgment here. It's all about sharing our experiences and diving deeper into it, because maybe the experience that you share, Angie, Julie, and I will get, I know we'll get a beautiful message for you. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we all come with different experiences. I've wanted to say this for some time. I'm going to say it now. Is like, me, Natalie, and Julie, like, we have husbands and children. There are many people out there that have a different kind of family dynamic. And these topics still apply to you, but we're not representing that perspective because it's not our perspective. But it's really important that you share your perspectives, from your life experience and your family experience, whether that's a blended family, a single family, like, there's all kinds of different variations of family, made family, like chosen family, adopted families. There's so many, right?
Yeah, and it's so important to share all this, guys,
Yeah.
because it expands us, it
Yes.
expands our knowledge, it expands our love, right? That we can share all this together.
Yeah, that's the new earth. I mean, it's bringing
Yeah,
everyone together in their unique differences into unity.
totally.
There's space for us all here. All right. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Whenever you're joining us, let us know where you're joining us from. That's exciting too.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation with everyone. I love you guys
Yeah,
so much.
love you.